Have you ever wondered why in Roller Coaster Tycoon you almost never see single riders? Why does the game force guests to ride in pairs? Well, in this episode of OpenRCT2 tutorials, I'm going to show you how to enable single and odd number of riders for almost any ride. To start, we first have to understand that most ride vehicles in Roller Coaster Tycoon only allow guests to ride in pairs. However, there are a few exceptions that allow for odd number of riders or even single riders. These include the Virginia Reel Tubs, as you can see here with this lonely rider all by himself, and also the streamlined monorail trains, as well as the jet skis and any variations they have from the expansion packs. Also, this goes for the submarines, which allow up to 5 guests. And then there is, of course, the single rail coaster, which was recently added to OpenRCT2, as well as a few others. Here we have a Wild Mouse coaster with a guest that really wants to ride, but the game is just not going to allow it without a companion. So let's help him out. First, we're going to close the ride, and then make sure you have the following cheats turned on: show vehicles from other track types and disable vehicle limits. Then now we can change the vehicle type from mouse cars to, let's try the jet skis. Now make sure you only have 1 car per train. Now we can go and test the ride to spawn the vehicles and close it, then using the Edit Ride Vehicles plugin. If you don't have it, the link is in the video description, but we're going to select the ride and change the vehicle visuals back to the mouse car. And then we need to apply it to all of the trains, so select all vehicles on all trains and hit apply. Now everything is a mouse car once again, and we can open the ride, but something's going on because the jet skis are so much closer together. It's just not operating how we want, so let's close the ride, and let's change it to something else like the dolphin boats, which are also jet skis, but they are from an expansion pack and they're a little bit longer, so maybe that will help. So back in the plugin, we can go and change the dolphins to mouse cars. And now let's see how that works. So it seems that things are working much better. So sometimes you just have to choose the correct vehicle. And now with the ride open, we can see here we have a guest getting on by himself. And now there's 2 of them. And now here we have a single rider coming up, getting on the ride. And as they sit down, even though there's 1 rider, the game is showing it as 2. You can see here it's allowing odd number of riders onto the ride. Unfortunately, the game just doesn't have the graphic sprites to show single riders, even though they are in fact there. But this allows us to have odd numbers and single number of riders for the different vehicles. We should also be mindful of the stat calculations. It's a little bit high for this ride, and that's because we used the dolphin boats or the jet skis, which have a very high modifier for the stat calculation. So let's take a look at a different example. Here we have a rapids ride with a guest that really wants to ride by themselves. So let's help them out. If we close the ride and change the vehicle type to, let's try the streamlined monorail trains. So we spawn the vehicles, go into the Edit Ride Vehicles plugin, select the ride, and we're going to change the vehicles back to the River Rapids boat, apply it to all of the trains, and then now we can open the ride. And so this should allow us to have single riders. Here we got 2 people getting on the ride, but now we got 2 more, so there's 4. Oh, now we have 5 people on this boat. Even though it's showing as 6, there's actually 5. And then it looks like here we might get a single rider for this next boat right here, getting on by themselves, and they're off. So this trick works pretty well for rides like this with just single vehicles. Now we can try something with a longer train like this Corkscrew. Now we're going to close the ride, and let's change the vehicles to something like the single rail roller coaster trains. So if we click those, they're much shorter in length, so this could be a problem. So we'll spawn the vehicles. You can see they're pretty short. So in the Edit Ride Vehicles plugin, we're going to select those trains, and then if we change them to the Corkscrew coaster trains, we're going to run into a little bit of an issue here. So we're going to apply it, and now as you can see, they're all bunched together. That doesn't look right. So we'd have to go to our vehicle 2 and change the variant, since the front vehicle looks different than the back, and then we need to use the track progress to back it up to get the spacing correct, and it would be a lot of work and kind of eyeballing it to make this look right. So if we change it to a different vehicle type, let's try the Virginia Reel Tubs, and then spawn those, and then we will apply the corkscrew trains to those. And then we can try and make sure the variants are correct for all the vehicles as we apply them. Make sure all of the following vehicles are variant 1, and make sure the front vehicle is variant 0. And it looks okay, but they're still really close together. So let's try the streamlined monorail trains instead. Go through this really quickly, and if we apply everything again, it's still not going to look correct, but this is just an example of what you could do if you had the patience. You could sit there and use the plugin to make sure everything lines up with the correct spacing, but personally I think that this trick works best for single vehicle trains rather than long trains, but that's just my opinion. But as you can see here, we have an odd number of people on the ride right now. I think there's 6 people. Now we're going to have 7 people riding this corkscrew, 7 people on this train. So this does work for long trains. It's just up to you if you want to take the time to make it look right. And one more thing, be mindful of what vehicle types you are using, because some of them have a few issues. Here I'm using the bicycles and then changing them to mouse cars. And once I open it, you can see there's a little bit of a graphical glitch here. So the mouse cars are glitching just a little bit. So I wouldn't recommend certain vehicle types, like the bicycles, for example. I have found that the streamlined monorail trains seem to work the best, and then also the dolphin boats work as well. So here I will just change it to streamlined monorail trains, and you will see that there is no more glitching and the ride is working as it should. Now, if you enjoyed learning how to enable single riders in RCT2, be sure to give this video a like and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And make sure to subscribe, because next time I'm going to be showing you how to build this Zamperla disco as I go through all of the custom rides from my Cliffside Park video and show you how to build them yourself. So stay tuned for more.